Founding fathers Sir Ahmadu Bello, Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, Chief Obafemi Awolowo, Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, and a host of others bequeathed us a united, peaceful and prosperous Nigeria. Let us honor them by living in peace with one another. Let us eschew violence, ethnic profiling, and religious bigotry. We must avoid hate speech and other forms of derogatory words against our fellow Nigerians. Let our differences in tribes, cultures, religions, or politics be the ingredients that make our unity palatable. Let us all join hands to fight our common enemies of insecurity, poverty, and unemployment. Nigeria is big enough for us all. Let's unite to make our country a great place for us all. This message is from Sir Ahmadu Bello Memorial Foundation in collaboration with Nigerian Television Authority, NTA.
Social media is like a big notice board in the marketplace. What you put on it, everybody will see.
One major definition of integrity is that you should do the right thing even if nobody is looking at you.
At what point do we as a people stand still and say, no, we no longer want money to become that thing that determines who we choose as leaders?
We are 50% of the population, and I really feel that it would make a lot of difference, a big boost to our development if there were more women participation.
I want to assure you that I remain committed to providing the necessary leadership in liaison with partners towards finding sustainable solutions to the challenges in Chad, in the Lake Chad region.
President Buhari rallies global support in transfer of power to civilian rule in Chad.
With the training that has been going on, I think our men are better positioned. They have the response capability to carry out their job very, very well.
Abuja Airport set for another round of recertification. Plus, new plates and spoons in the classroom. Federal government makes primary school pupils smile more. Good evening and welcome to NTA Network News. I am Joseph Johnson. Hingunu John Adams joins me from Lagos. Let's begin by telling you that Africa and the international community have critically an urgent role to play in fostering a peaceful transition from military to civilian rule in the Democratic Republic of Chad within a set time of 18 months. President Muhammadu Buhari stated this on Tuesday at the opening of the extraordinary summit of heads of state and government of the Lake Chad Basin Commission, convened to discuss the recent developments in Chad after President Idris Deby died on the front line while defending the territorial integrity of his country. State House correspondent Gideon Ifade reports.
At the head of the Oval Table sat President Muhammadu Buhari as chair of leaders of the Lake Chad Basin Commission member countries and convener of the extraordinary summit. Prominently on the table is the development arising in the Republic of Chad, occasioned by the death of former leader Idris Deby.
That the threat of further conflict.
President Muhammadu Buhari says the need to support the Chadian government by all to effectively carry out its planned 18-month transition is sacrosanct.
We have collectively shown that with commitment and with the desired support from the international community and our development partners, we can achieve success.
President Buhari says the death of President Deby had direct implications for the continued peace and stability of Chad as a nation, the Lake Chad region, and the wider Sahel region.
As chairman of the Summit of Heads of State and Government of the Lake Chad Basin Commission member countries, I want to assure you that I remain committed to providing the necessary leadership in liaison with partners towards finding sustainable solutions to the challenges in Chad, in the Lake Chad region.
The president observes that the region is faced with several challenges that need the support and engagement of all to overcome, saying it is a collective duty and in honor of the memory of the men and women that have died in search of peace in the region, and at the request of President Muhammadu Buhari and in recognition of the immense and sterling contributions of the late president of Chad to peace and stability in the region. The summit observed a minute silence for the departed leader.
A purposeful, positive, and enthusiastic commitment of leaders can bring about change. And that's exactly what President Muhammadu Buhari is requiring from leaders of the region and the international community in support of the people of Chad. In Abuja, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
And the Lake Chad Basin Commission member countries have commended efforts of the multinational Joint Task Force in the fight against terrorism, insurgency and other multinational crimes in the region and called for more collaboration towards maximizing the potential of the force. This was contained in the communique issued after a closed-door session of the one-day summit in Abuja. State House correspondent Jide Onifade again reports.
The session reviews the situation in Chad following the attacks by machinery group leading to the demise of Field Marshal Idris Debis Itno, late president of the Republic of Chad, and their implications to the peace, security, and development in Chad in particular, and the Lake Chad and the Sahel regions in general.
All Chadians to avail themselves of the service.
The heads of state and government noted the seriousness of such attacks to the stability of Chad and to regional peace, security, and stability as enumerated by the Executive Secretary of the Commission and further elaborated by General Muhammad Idris Deby, President of the Transitional Military Council of Chad.
The heads of state and government commended the efforts of member countries to address the security challenges in the Lake Chad Basin and reaffirmed their commitment to the promotion of peace, security, stability, and development in the region.
It further noted that the appointment by the Transitional Military Council of an inclusive 40-person civilian cabinet headed by a prime minister from the opposition party. It noted the 18-month duration of the transition program and urged the Transitional Military Council to embark on the process of national reconciliation and dialogue involving all Chadian stakeholders that will lead to free and fair elections.
They reaffirmed their commitment to strengthening regional cooperation in the fight against terrorism, towards which end they resolved to increase their support to the Lake Chad Basin Commission and the multinational Joint Task Force to enable them achieve their mandates.
Members note that the situation in Libya is intrinsically linked to the deteriorating security situation, not only in Chad, but also in the Lake Chad Basin and the Sahel regions.
Urge the international community to provide for a comprehensive disarmament, demobilization, reintegration and reinsertion program for the foreign fighters expelled from Libya. Commended the efforts of the multinational Joint Task Force in the fight against terrorism and other transnational crimes in the region and called for more collaboration among troops contributing countries towards maximizing the potentials of the force.
Members commended President Muhammadu Buhari for providing good leadership in the region. In Abuja, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
In the meantime, the federal government has condemned in strong terms the detention of the duo of interim president of Mali, Banda, and Prime Minister Mokhtar Ould. The two key officials in the transitional government of Mali were reportedly taken by soldiers to the Kati military camp near the capital Bamako on Monday, 24 May. The federal government joined the African Union and other international bodies in calling for immediate and unconditional release of Mali's transition leaders in Mali. Uche Ugochukwu reports on the situation in Mali.
Mali's transition leaders, President Badar and his Prime Minister Mokhtar Ould, have been leading an interim government which took power after a military coup in August 2020. They were arrested and detained by soldiers who were unhappy with the new government announced by the transitional authorities. And taken to the same place, President-elect Ibrahim Keita was forcefully taken by coup colonels to announce his resignation 9 months ago. As tension rises in the country, the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres, ECOWAS, the EU and the US have condemned the arrests, saying Mali's top politicians must be released without any preconditions.
And we endorse the communication of ECOWAS and the African Union, and we urge a return to democracy, and we hope that the necessary measures will be taken to do this.
The Congolese president and the current chairman of the African Union, Felix Tshisekedi, also condemned the action of the military aimed at destabilizing Mali. Meanwhile, investigations show that discussions are ongoing at the Kati military camp, where the president and prime minister are being held. A delegation from ECOWAS, which played a key role in setting up the transitional government, is also due to visit Bamako. Uche Ugochukwu, NTA News.
To other matters now, Chieftain of the All Progressives Congress, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has formally reacted to calls for self-determination in parts of the country, saying Nigeria is a nation that must be kept as one. Chief Tinubu made his views known while speaking to NTA News after an audience with President Muhammadu Buhari Monday evening.
We have already made our position clear that we want a one united, peaceful, stable country, productive and promising. Nigeria is not just a rat village. It's a nation. I want to keep it as one.
The APC leader, accompanied by the pioneer chairman of the governing APC, Chief Bisi Akonde, and other associates, were in the State House to commiserate with the president over the death of the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Ibrahim Atahiru, and 10 other officers. He prayed the Almighty Allah to grant the president and the bereaved families the fortitude to bear the irreparable loss.
It's demoralizing.
We want peace in Nigeria.
It's disheartening. It's sad, and to rub mind with him too, to see commitment to humanity.
Northwest Geopolitical Zone Senate Committee on Constitution Review is appealing to stakeholders to actively participate in the public hearing while sustaining quality contribution for the peace and development of the nation. Haruna Mohammed reports that the committee chairman, Senator Kabiru Gaya, was speaking to the media in Kaduna ahead of Wednesday's public hearing.
In response to the calls for amendment of sections of the Nigerian Constitution, 9th Senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria mandated Committee on Constitutional Amendment to conduct public hearing in each zone of the Federation. The two-day public hearing will receive contributions on federal structure, gender mainstreaming, local government autonomy, fiscal policies, among other issues germane to national unity and progress from the stakeholders. 2 centers have been assigned the task in 6 geopolitical zones. Senator Kabir Gaya heads the Northwest Committee Kaduna Center, comprising Kaduna, Kano, Jigawa, and Katsina states.
Constitution is the act for the governance of the country, which affects every Nigerian, and therefore we need every Nigerian to contribute to the making of the law that will govern him. And
I believe it is a way that the Nigerians can feel that they are participated in this constitution review.
He says critical stakeholders consisting the civil society groups, youth association, trade union, among others, will be allowed to freely participate in the public hearing. Haruna Mohammed, NTA News.
Now, ahead of the next phase for recertification of the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, one of the major requirements is the airport's emergency plan, which helps to minimize the impact of an emergency, particularly in respect of saving lives. The exercise is expected to prove a model that conforms to contingency involving stakeholders. Aviation correspondent Emmanuel Ayimero reports.
An emergency starts with the pilot communicating with the air traffic controller about a distress. When it happens, different steps are taken to provide safety for lives and community involved. This simulation is to reactivate the roles of different stakeholders for proper coordination to avoid conflicting roles and poor service delivery during an emergency.
We go into MOUs with sister organizations like Federal Fire Service, hospitals, construction companies, so that in such case of accident or incident in the airport, we can call the NEMA so that they come to our rescue. So with this exercise, we'll be able to see our response by our stakeholders.
With the training that has been going on, I think our men are better positioned. They have the response capability to carry out their job very, very well.
Other areas of concern include how to communicate to the general public, particularly those who lost their loved ones, provision of security, effective command and communication among stakeholders, and managing residents around the crash site.
We have some observers that cover the exercise that to tell us what they think are the shortcomings, and then we work on them.
Abuja Airport recertification is expected to be carried out by the Civil Aviation Authority. Emmanuel Ayimero, NTA News.
Let's take a break. We'll be back shortly.
Here today, gone tomorrow. 'Cause you volatile like the water. And you promise what you don't know. Sometimes it's right and then it's so wrong. Them go do like say them why. Will promise you the world. Brother, all now worship. Upon all of the open eye. I see no feel water. Like you be letter.
Smartphone Network.
I am with you at every stage of your life, providing comfort when you are keeping fit, comfort when you are expecting your bundle of joy, comfort during motherhood, comfort in your office, comfort in your car, comfort when sharing a meal, comfort at bedtime. From cradle to grey, there's comfort for you with Vitafoam. Quality is vital. Quality is Vitafoam. Vitafoam, the fine art of living.
Nigeria joins the world to mark the 2021 World Day for Cultural Diversity for Dialogue and Development, otherwise known as the World Cultural Day, to raise awareness on the role of culture in sustainable socio-economic growth and development. With Nigeria's 2021 theme being cultural diversity in the COVID-19 era. A sensitization and awareness roadwork is slated for Wednesday, 26th May 2021 at the Radio House by 9 a.m. The grand finale comes up at National Press Center Radio House on Thursday, 27th May 2021 by 9 a.m. with exhibition of cultural diversity of the country. Announcing Ministry of Information and Culture.
His Excellency the Governor of Sokoto State, Right Honorable Amin Waziri Tambol, Mutawalli of Sokoto, and the Governor of Kebbi State, Alhaji Atiku Bagudu, Mutawalli of Gondu, are pleased to invite the general public to the public presentation of the book titled Civil Service and Good Governance in Nigeria, an autobiography of Idris Koko, Madawakin Gondu. Chief host, His Excellency Governor of Sokoto State, Right Honorable Amin Waziri Tambol. Host, Governor of Kebbi State, Alhaji Atiku Bagudu. Co-host, the Governor of Zamfara State, Bello Muhammad, Shatima of Sokoto. Royal Father of the Day, CFR MNI, His Eminence, the Sultan of Sokoto, Alhaji Muhammad Saad Abubakar. Chairman of the occasion, Professor Sheikh Ahmad Said Galarenchi. Guest of honor, Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Abubakar Malami. Guest speaker and book reviewer, Professor Attahir Muhammad Jiga. The book presentation will hold at the International Conference Center, Gasalawa, Airport Road, Sokoto, on Thursday, the 27th of May, 2021. Time, 4:30 p.m. It will indeed be a great experience. Professor Sheikh Saleh Muhammad, Department of Political Science, Usman Danfodi University, Sokoto. Chairman, Local Organizing Committee, Announcer.
I've been looking at you from across the way, and I think about you almost every day. Now I think that I must have a crush on you. I hope that you feel it too.
It's the natural ingredients and rich flavor of Knorr that brings people together.
A peak protein breakfast gets me to a great day. How do I know? Because my daddy goes through his work feeling good and always with a smile. Mommy is always filled with confidence. My sister is always in tune. And for me, learning new things becomes absolute fun. Because all day and every day, the peak goes on.
Start your day with a Peak Protein Breakfast. Peak. Reach for your peak.
Center for Ethical Rebirth Among Nigerian Youth, Sereni, announces the 2021 National Youth Conference on Drug Abuse. Theme: recognizing the nexus between drug abuse and insecurity and the need for urgent collaboration between the youth and government in the task of securing the nation. Date: June 22, 2021. Venue: International Conference Center, Abuja. Time: 9 a.m. prompt. Conference Chairman: Retired Major General IBM Haruna. Speakers: Retired Brigadier General Mohammed Marwa. Executive Chairman, NDLEA, Mr. Olive Stupi, Country Representative, United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, Mr. Abe Tako, India High Commissioner to Nigeria, and Professor Udenta Odenta, renowned author. Signed, Chuks Akamado, President, Serani. Supported by Nigerian Television Authority, NTA.
You're watching NTA Network News with me, Joseph Johnson. Media practitioners in the country have been enjoined to ensure that charlatans, hack writers do not dominate the media space. Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed gave the advice when he granted audience to the management of Guardian newspapers in Abuja. Anthony Fulson reports.
Describing the media as indispensable to the sustenance of a virile democracy because no true democracy survives without a professional, responsible and independent media, the Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed said it is in that context that the current administration sees the media as partners in progress.
For the media to be able to play its role, which is to inform, criticize and stimulate debate, it must take responsibility for whatever it puts out. In other words, it must get its facts right.
In an era of fake news and misinformation, the minister emphasized that the government has done a lot to ensure that the menace is contained.
Fake news has ruined homes, pushed many into depression, and done untold hardship to others. It is a clear and present danger to all. I believe it should not be out of place for reputable media organizations like The Guardian to set up a special desk for fact-checking as a panacea for this problem.
Assuring the Minister of the Guardian newspaper's support and desire to partner with the federal government, the editor-in-chief, Martins Onoja, said his organization is doing all in its capacity to contain the situation.
We remain loyal to the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And as you have seen over the last 38 years of the Guardian, we have remained committed to good journalism.
In Abuja, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
Geospatial information is a major solution in exploring the solid minerals and crime fighting. To achieve this, surveyors and mining experts are meeting in Abuja. Mia Ogidi reports.
Digging deep to get a precious mineral through a crude process. So, accidental discovery is what they depend on. Making the best of the natural resources through artificial intelligence informed this general meeting of surveyors in assisting the federal government in diversifying the economy.
Advancement in GIS and web mapping technologies, we can have standalone GIS to enterprise GIS and web GIS.
If you talk about the economy, agriculture, road construction, environmental issues, name them, we are everywhere.
Technology is expensive, but the surveyors and the government are unrelenting.
Nigeria has a long stock of qualified and experienced surveying, geomatics, and spatial information managers to help government drive its policies and programs to successful conclusions.
And our government are listening to us. I tell you, what we had last year, budget-wise, is a little bit better this year than what we had last year.
Such synergy is a great harvest for the federal government diversification program, especially in the solid minerals sector. Mie Ogede, NTA.
Following recent attacks on police personnel and formations in the southeast and south-south region, former Inspectors General of Police are brainstorming with the Acting Inspector General of Police to find lasting solutions to the attacks and other security challenges in the nation. Chairman of the Police Service Commission, Musiliu Smith, in an interview with newsmen in Abuja, said it has become necessary for all stakeholders to work together towards securing the country. Francis Fong reports.
Hardly a day passes without a report of attack on either the Nigeria Police Force or the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, by unknown gunmen in the southeast and south-south zones, destroying critical national infrastructure. Worried by this, past Inspectors General of Police and the Acting Inspector General of Police are discussing with a view to nip the problem in the bud.
The police stations, they are too open. They are not supposed to be open. They should be constructed and protected in such a way that it will not be easy for any ruffians to attack. We have to ensure that every level of police station, they have the number of modern weapons and good armory to house them, so that if there is any attempt, or even for the people who will be guarding the place.
Former Inspector General of Police and Chairman Police Service Commission, Musiliu Smith, advocated increased funding of the police to bridge the infrastructure gap, which has exposed the force to attacks. Francis from NTA News.
In ensuring proper hygiene for pupils in schools who are beneficiaries of the National Homegrown School Feeding Program, the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sadia Umar Farouk, has flagged off the distribution of feeding utensils to public schools in the Federal Capital Territory. Ruth Aguele reports.
Thank you for the food. Thank you for everything.
A show of gratitude by Litu Isabella, a pupil of LEA Primary School, Jabi, in the Federal Capital Territory. She is one of the beneficiaries of the National Homegrown School Feeding Program. With the resumption of the program across the country after a short break as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development has flagged off the handover of feeding utensils to public schools in the territory as part of efforts to ensure good meal in good utensils.
The purpose of this intervention is to ensure that target peoples have the best experience of integrity and safety during their consumption of the free meals that is being provided by the federal government. On this note, I hereby, to the glory of God Almighty, flag up the distribution of these utensils nationwide, starting with the Federal Capital Territory.
With that handing over, the minister took a step further to inspect the meals being given to the children.
What do you say to Mama?
I enjoyed the food. I ate rice and egg.
1 meal a day, more enrollment in schools. So far, about 10 million children across the country are benefiting from the program. This is part of the strategy by the federal government in reducing poverty and out-of-school children in the country. In Abuja, Ruth Aguele, NTA News.
Meanwhile, sound moral upbringing of the child secures a peaceful society. This informed the decision by the Minister of Women Affairs, Dame Pauline Talin, and FCT Minister of State to give the Nigerian child the best in this year's Children's Day celebrations in Abuja. Ngozi Silva Technical reports.
They may not be aware of the challenges ahead of them, but shaping it appropriately is a major salvation. COVID-19 did not only lock the streets, but also the schools, and this comes with huge setback for children. Though the gates are opened, but providing favorable environment to actualize their potentials as well-being of the child, the way forward is counterpart call for synergy among Nigerians to end all forms of child abuse.
Nigerian children stand out anywhere in the world. Their resilience, their doggedness, and their commitment to anything they believe in is always unique.
My message is that emphasis on children by government and government agencies should be a continuous one.
May 27th is the day for the children, and that seems even too far.
I can't wait for the 27th of May to celebrate our day.
This program has enlightened not just the government, but we people, that the well-being of the Nigerian child is paramount.
Ngozi Silva Technical, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari has congratulated mother of the governor of Kwara State, Alhaja Raliat Abdulrazak, on the occasion of her 91st birthday. President Buhari joins family members, friends and well-wishers in honoring Alhaja's devotion to serving humanity and community, blazing the trail as the first female councillor in Kwara State and working passionately to provide quality education to the less privileged. The president praised Allah to grant the nonagenarian more years of good health. The federal government is to develop all abandoned stock routes and grazing reserve with a view to addressing farmers-herders conflict and transhuman activities. Musa Baba Aliyu has the details.
This herdsman is moving about 100 cattle from one location to another in search of greener pasture and water for his animal, as well as running away from rustlers. Veterinary experts are of the view that the collapse of federal and state government grazing reserves is responsible for the frequent clashes between farmers and herders.
You may be hearing about livestock transformation plan and all this and all that. I think we are consolidating all these policies into one, and we are going to focus on the development of ranching and on the development of dairy production.
The plan by the federal government, therefore, is to settle cattle breeders in one place where grazing areas as well as water drinking points, schools and healthcare facilities will be provided. As at 2013, the federal government has a total of 2 million hectares of grazing reserves in 21 states. In Abuja, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
All right, to give more insight on this issue is the Executive Secretary, Agriculture Research Council of Nigeria, Professor Hamidu Sharubutu, and he joins me from our Enugu studio. You're welcome to NTA Network News, Prof.
Very much, and good evening, Nigerians.
start by getting your view on the proposal of the federal government on livestock development.
Well, the issue of the development of livestock, and specifically the issue of grazing reserve, is an age-long problem that we have in this country. And so for the federal government, this is an inherited program. And I can tell you that immediately after independence, the federal government actually, with the help of the international community, and specifically ILCA, stationed in Kenya, under the auspices of the African Union, that time the OAU, decided to come up with a program called the Fulani Amenity Program. And that was a program that was supposed to settle the Fulani gradually and providing them with the necessary amenities. And what are these amenities? These amenities are watering ponds, development of fodder, that is the food they are supposed to eat in terms of grasses and legumes, then provision of livestock stores for feed, as well as clinic. Now, this program did not succeed because at inception it took up as a very, very serious program. But just like other programs, it collapsed. Then the first National Livestock Development Program came up. The second Livestock Development Program also came up. But all these have been programs that were truncated because funding has not been there, political will have not been there. Now, during the Jonathan administration and towards the tail end, the federal government, looking at the problem that has bedeviled this country because insecurity was now being introduced into the issue of livestock development, decided to develop grazing reserve. And because the regime did not continue, the Buhari regime came up and decided to continue with the program. Remember that this was the program that was actually developed under the chairmanship of Ben Suswam, who was the chairman during Jonathan's regime. And because the new National Economic Council came up, they decided to read the minutes, the last minutes of the meeting, and so they decided to adopt it. Now, this led to the birth of the National Livestock Transformation Program. But along the line, nomenclature took hold of the whole program, and so people now started reading meaning into the whole thing. Today, the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, and I want us to be very, very specific about the nomenclature, the name of that ministry. It's Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development. And because it has to do with rural development and livestock rearing is a rural activity, the Honorable Minister, Alhaji Sabono Nono, decided to take this as a very, very serious issue to see what they can do about livestock. But let me say this, livestock is a national asset. The Fulani or whoever is rearing cattle is only holding that asset in trust for the nation. Because if the livestock are not there, we may have to go outside this country and then import, thereby creating jobs elsewhere. Now, with this initiative of trying to develop this grazing reserve, I think it is something that we should all key into for those who are willing. And let me say this, that we have over 415 demarcated grazing reserves in this country, spread across the northern part and some part of the southwest, particularly in Oyo State. Now, those that were actually gazetted are about 112. So this is where we are, and there's a need for us to really move into and try to see what we can do to develop them.
Professor, just very, very quickly now, because we're running out of time, how can states in the South also benefit from this program? Very quickly. Benefit from this program.
You see, when the National Livestock Transformation Agenda actually came in, it was a concept that was supposed to be for the willing. Those that are actually willing to donate land, those governments that are ready to actually key into so that a counterpart type of arrangement will be made. And I want to make give an example of a program that I am involved in. That is the program in Plateau State. Each state government is supposed to look at the blueprint and adopt it with peculiar attention to his culture, to his religion, and to the disposition of his own people. In Plateau State, the governor, what he intends to do is to say, those indigenous people that have livestock will also have a share to develop their own ranches, while the grazing reserves that were already gazetted in Wase Kanam will now be used to settle the Fulani people that are there. So these are the type of arrangements that will be adopted by the various state governments.
Secretary, Agriculture Research Council of Nigeria, Professor Hamidu Shaributu, thank you for your time. All right, Nigeria's First Lady Aisha Buhari wants parents and other well-meaning Nigerians to join hands in the war against insecurity by ensuring good upbringing of their children and wards. The plea came up at the 5th Presidential Diary Magazine Award ceremony, which provided the opportunity to honor some Nigerians who have demonstrated leadership in the quest to have a better nation. David Ire reports that the Director General of the NTA was honored at the event.
The First Lady, Aisha Buhari, is gladdened that the journey of the Presidential Diary magazine has led to the empowerment of many youths in the society. Represented by the Special Assistant to the President on African First Lady's Peace Mission, Dr. Mairo Al-Makura, the First Lady is optimistic that Nigeria will soon overcome the security challenges facing it.
My office has been in the forefront of the campaign against drug abuse and other forms of drug that seek to destroy the very fabric of our society. My passion, commitment towards tackling the drug abuse menace prompted the inauguration of the Presidential Advisory Committee on the Elimination of Drugs Abuse.
All Nigerians should remain upstanding, especially now where insecurity is a central discourse in the country, and there's definite linkage between drug use and insecurity.
Some of the awardees, including the Director General of the NTA, Yakubu Ibn Mohammed, Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, and the Governor of Nasarawa State, Abdullahi Sule, were represented at the event.
It's important that when you recognize leadership, then you have followership. So for me, this is a very important award.
In addition to Buhari's change agenda, we thought there was need for us to be part of it.
The Presidential Diary magazine is published monthly in Abuja. David Ire, NTA News.
Now let's turn our attention to Lagos Network Center, where Ingunu is waiting to bring us the very latest. Ingunu.
Thank you, Joseph. Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu and his Ogun State counterpart Dapo Abiodun have signed a historic memorandum of understanding to establish Joint Development Commission to boost trade facilitation and infrastructural development in both states. Musa Toliat reports that the MOU was signed at a colorful event in Ogun State.
The Lagos-Ogun Joint Development Commission has the mandate to work out modalities on areas of cooperation in agriculture, particularly in rice production, waste management, water supply, and infrastructural development in both states. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu stressed that the two states are leveraging on areas of comparative advantages to meet the socio-economic needs of their citizens and create a conducive business environment to attract investments.
Regardless of the challenges, we are determined to build a more livable and stable city. Our goal is to build a sustainable urban city where both the residents of Lagos and Ogun have a sense of belonging. They embrace a participatory issues around governance, and they recognize their role as achieving a solid urban economic growth for the two states.
On his part, Governor Dapo Abiodun said the establishment of the Joint Development Commission stems from the mutual commitment to revive the defunct Lagos-Ogun Mega City project conceived in 2005 by former governors Bola Tinubu and Olusegun Oshoba administrations.
The official launch of this commission today will further initiate and accelerate more projects necessary to aid ease of movement of our people, goods and services, as well as increase industrialization along our border communities and ensure a wholesome development of our both states.
The Memorandum of Understanding to establish a joint commission between Lagos and Ogun states has been described as a game changer capable of addressing the socio-economic issues that would make life meaningful for citizens in both states. There were goodwill messages from traditional institutions, public and private sector players. In Lagos, Musa Toliat, NTA News.
Substandard tires worth over 6 million naira have been confiscated in Lagos. The tires stocked in a warehouse at a remote area outbound of Lagos was evacuated by a team of task force in charge of standards of products. Abolade Salami reports.
Failure to meet up with standard in the importation of product is responsible for the confiscation of the more than 100 containers housing the substandard tires stocked at this warehouse. The tires stocked in between themselves failed the basic parameter test conducted on them. This prompted the task force team to seal off the warehouse to avoid circulation of the tires.
Instead of bringing the tires into individual containers, the purveyors of this nefarious activity stuff them into one another. For example, if they are bringing 300 tires in one container, they will now have the opportunity of bringing about 1,500. In doing that, it compromises the quality of the tire. You know, the tire is made up of wires and carbon, and our tests reveal that the tensile strength of the tires have been compromised, and they are no more fit for purpose.
In addressing the issue of road carnage, the agency appealed to Nigerians to desist from patronizing dealers of fake vehicle parts and other products. In Lagos, Abolade Salami, NTA News.
It's now time for a break. The news will be back shortly with Benny Adams in Abuja.
Please keep an eye on Jenny.
Oh, that's all right.
Uncle Paul, look! I want to be a pilot when I grow up.
That's good. I've always wanted to be friends with a pilot.
Uncle Paul, what's your job?
I help people understand things.
Like a teacher?
Almost. I help explain to mummies and daddies what they can do with their money. I help people build stuff. And I'm always there when they are happy and when they are sad. I help people grow all kinds of things.
You're a farmer!
Not quite. I help people keep and grow their money so later they come back when it's bigger for themselves.
You're a magician!
Just like a pilot, I help people move from where they are to where they want to be.
Thank you, Uncle Paul.
Pilot.
ARM. Invested in your tomorrow.
Mommy is ready to receive me a bundle of joy. Mommy is making my home cleaner and safer. We are Dettol, Dettol Sure.
Illnesses can happen at home too. That's why Dettol and me together will make my baby's home safe and to protect from up to 100 illness-causing germs. That's why moms want to be Dettol, Dettol Sure.
We are Dettol, Dettol Sure.
Fun is 10. Smart is 10. Fast is 10. Elegance is 10. My experience is 10. Redmi Note 10 Pro. Challenge the boundaries. Get the Redmi Note 10 Pro, built with 108 megapixel camera, 120 Hz AMOLED display, and Qualcomm Snapdragon 732G, as well as 33 watts fast charge. The Redmi Note 10 Pro, powered by Xiaomi.
You don't wait for them. The dying minute of the football season, where they come with extra drama. Better heartbreak. And the victory where you go to tell your picking and your picking them. But anyhow way it take happen, we dey gidigba with our team. Now for life. Now football will make sense with this. And you not
fit miss am. Stay connected on top your Go TV. Make yourself see all the gbas wey dey shele live this whole month of May as football season don enter final lap. Go TV, love it.
Revision classes on television for students in secondary schools in English and mathematics will commence on the NTA. The revision classes will transmit Mondays to Fridays from 5 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. on the network service of the NTA. This is organized in preparation for the various national examinations and orders. This is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Education.
You can get more news and updates on www.nta.ng or follow us on our Twitter handle at NTA News Now. You can also like us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/NTA Network News, and also stay connected and subscribe to our YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/NTA News Online. Also remember to watch our news live streaming at www.nta.ng/live.
Good to have you join us on the business side of the news. I am Benny Adams, and we start by telling you that the Monetary Policy Committee, NPC, has voted to retain monetary policy rates, that's the MPR, and all parameters to support the fragile economic recovery and propel productivity. Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, at the end of the committee's meeting in Abuja, called on those posing security threat to the country to embrace the Anko Borrowers scheme. Let's join Leah Katung Babatunde for details.
There are expectations that prices will rise globally as central banks around the world sustain monetary nominalization. In Nigeria, the fundamentals show a moderate recovery as the non-oil sector drove real GDP growth in the first quarter of 2021, with agriculture contributing the largest. The Central Bank of Nigeria has continued to support the federal government in the recovery process and has increased the targeted credit facility by another 100 billion naira to 400 billion naira to boost liquidity. But Governor Emefiele has some advice for bad debtors and troublemakers.
And I therefore would like to appeal to our brothers who decide that they want to live in the bushes and forests, that they should please begin to retreat, drop their arms, and come and embrace Anko Borrowers program.
On the dollar for naira extension, the bank persists that it will encourage diaspora remittances, which Nigeria is already encouraging through diaspora bond investments. The 279th meeting of the Monetary Policy Committee had all members agreeing on policy direction aimed at controlling inflationary trends.
On the CBN intervention facility to the state governments, we are engaging National Economic Council, and CBN is also insisting on its loan to be paid. But depending on the outcome of engagement between Central Bank, Finance, and National Economic Council, we will begin to take the money.
He also insists the bank has no tolerance for cryptocurrencies, but is working to see digital currency come to life in Nigeria. In Abuja, Leah Katung Babatunde, NTA News.
And on the capital market, investors lose 16.06 billion naira as NGX all-share index dips by 0.08% amid positive market turnover. Equities market closed at 38,256.76 basis points as against 0.10% depreciation recorded previously. Market breadth closed negative as Sai Leasing led 12 gainers as against 17 losers, topped by Lasaco at the end of today's session. Market turnover closed positive as volume moved up by 77.27% as against 19.02% recorded in the previous session. Cordville, Zenith Bank and Jais Bank were the most active to boost market turnover, while Zenith Bank and Guarantee topped the market value list. That's business news. Joseph, is over to you.
Thank you, Penny. The First Lady of Nigeria, Aisha Muhammadu Buhari, has sympathized with the families of the officers and men of the Nigerian Air Force involved in the plane crash in Kaduna. The First Lady, in a message, assured the family that they are not alone in this monumental grief. State House correspondent Aliyu Kabir reports.
The First Lady of Nigeria, Aisha Muhammadu Buhari, has sent a delegation under the leadership of the Special Assistant to the President on African First Lady's Peace Mission, Dr. Mairo Al-Makura, to the Nigerian Air Force Base, Abuja, to condole with the families of the flying officers and men involved in the Thursday plane crash in Kaduna, which claimed the lives of Chief of Army Staff and other officers of the Nigerian Armed Forces. The First Lady has condoled with the wife and the family of Flight Lieutenant late Ayodeji Alfred Olufade and late Sergeant Okpeyemi Adeshino and other men and officers involved in the tragedy. While commiserating with their family members, the First Lady assured them of her support at all times.
Like we all know, the nation is mourning, and First Lady is not exceptional to it. She has asked us to come on her behalf to mourn with the deceased family. We cannot question why it happened, because every soul shall test it. And it is their time. All we pray is for Almighty Allah to grant them the rest, and the family the fortitude to bear this loss.
Buhari also gave them words of encouragement, adding that the whole country is with them in absorbing the shock of the sudden death of their loved ones. In Abuja, Aliyu Kabir, NTA News.
And the First Lady has described late Aisha Jummai Al-Hassan as a pillar of support to Nigerian women, irrespective of their background. He stated this in Abuja during a condolence visit to the family of the deceased, who died recently after a protracted illness. State House correspondent Aliyu Kabir again reports.
Condoling the family of late Aisha Jummai Al-Hassan, who was a former Minister of Women Affairs, the First Lady of Nigeria, Aisha Muhammadu Buhari, was received by the members of the family of the deceased, led by her younger brother Ibrahim Abubakar Jalingo. While consoling with the family, the First Lady described late Aisha Jummai Al-Hassan as the troubled woman, pillar of support to all Nigerian women and a source of inspiration. She added that late Jummai Al-Hassan was a courageous woman who stood in for the advancement of women, especially the welfare and the well-being of girl child. She prayed to Allah to grant her Al-Jannatul Firdaus. Mrs. Buhari described the death of late Maman Traba, as she was popularly known, as the loss to not only the family but the whole nation, especially for the women and children. In the meantime, the First Lady has condoled with the wife and the family members of late Brigadier General Olatunji Olayinka, who died in a recent plane crash in Kaduna alongside the late Chief of Army Staff and other gallant officers. Late Olayinka, until his death, was the Provost Marshal of the Nigerian Army. The First Lady, in a condolence message through the Special Assistant African First Lady's Peace Mission, Dr. Mairo Al-Makura, described late Olayinka as a true patriot.
She has asked me to tell them this is not just their grief, it's not just the Nigerian Army, but the whole country. And she's with them in prayers, and she prays that Almighty guide them right, the children and the family has left behind.
In Abuja, Aliyu Kabir, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari has sent a high-powered delegation to commiserate with the government and people of Anambra State, Adamawa State, I should say, over the death of the former Minister of Agriculture and Forestry in the defunct northern Nigeria. Simon Asha reports.
The delegation, led by the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Mohamed Musa Bello, also has Minister of Agriculture, Mohamed Sabana Nono, and Senior Special Assistant to the President of Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, among others. They were received on arrival at Yola International Airport by Chief of Staff, Government House Yola, Professor Maxwell Gidado. The delegation proceeded to the family compound of late Abdullah Damburanjada to extend a condolence message of President Muhammadu Buhari, who described him as an icon of peace and development, whose legacy lives to stand the test of time.
We are here as part of a delegation by Mr. President Muhammadu Buhari to come and extend his condolence and the family of the late elder statesman, Abuja.
Dairi Muhammad, who received the delegation on behalf of the family, thanked the president for identifying with them during their moment of grief. The delegation was also at the government house Yola to condole with Governor Ahmadu Umaru Fintiri and the entire state over the great loss.
We want to extend our extra gratitude to the president for identifying with us always, whether in good or in bad situation.
In Yola, Simon Asher, NTA News.
The death has been announced of Mother Cecilia Ekwozo, a.k.a. Chinedu. She was aged 97. Burial arrangement in honor of late Mother Cecilia Ekwozo takes place tomorrow at Umoriam Village, Northia, Njikoka local government area, Anambra State. This is to be followed by a mass at St. Anthony's Catholic Church, Northia, while interment follows immediately. Late Mother Cecilia Ekwozo is survived by engineer Dominic Ekwozo and Peter Ekwozo, Director with the Federal Ministry of Science and Technology. And that's the news for tonight. Thank you very much indeed for your company. I'm Joseph Johnson. Remember to always connect with the NTA to stand against rape and rapists. Bye-bye.